Now, there was an uneasy calm in Awka, the capital of Anambra State, as gunmen invaded B Division Police Station and the Office of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Sunday night. Some police officers were feared dead from the attack, which eyewitnesses say lasted for almost 2 hours. After attacking the police facility, the gunmen went ahead to set the INEC office ablaze. Meanwhile, the Anambra State Police Command has confirmed the attacks on the B Division Police Station. Currently, the two facilities have been cordoned off by the security operatives.
Well, for more on the insecurity in the southeast region, Uchenna Orji, Commissioner of Information for Ebonyi State, joins us now in the studio. We'll also be discussing developments, of course, in the state in general. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
What more can you tell us about the recent attacks on the police divisional headquarters in Ebonyi local government area of the state on Sunday, which is yesterday?
Yeah, truly, we've been battling to see how the scourge of insecurity can be reduced in Ebonyi State without the governor taking a lot of proactive measures to ensure that all the issues are nipped in the bud. So yesterday, there was that attack on one of the divisional police stations in one of the local government areas in Ebonyi State. That is Ebonyi local government, that is about 50 kilometers away from the metropolis. And as God will have it, they were repelled by the operations of the security agencies, of course, with the intelligence of the Bubago within the area. And I'm sure one was left dead, and a lot of information, pieces of information were gathered. I'm sure the police will work with the information to get to the roots to know who are the masterminds of this.
Okay, thank you for that. Even though we don't know if any of our security agents were harmed in any way, we don't seem to have an account.
Yeah, in the course of that, one of the security officials was also left dead. And the police had to recover something, a phone from one of the suspects. And I think it's going to help the police in getting to know what is actually the cause or the base of these bandits. I'm sure that you know that since this May, the police has been working hard to crack down on the bandits. I'm sure there was a time they tried to attack a bank and the police repelled them, giving the information that was given to them by Bubago of Ebonyi State. And of course, they have a very strong collaboration and cooperation. So when that happened, they had to really work on the information to get to know who was their physician. And that person was arrested, and in the course of that, he had to confess as to the operations, the modus operandi of these bandits. And of course, their base was targeted, was cordoned off, and a number of them were arrested. I'm sure they are giving useful information on the issues. Of course, there are so many of them, but our happiness is that since the creation of a bag in Ebonyi State, we've been having successes. They have never succeeded. Okay. And that is a good plus to the security agencies and the state government.
But you sat in that same chair over a month ago when we last had you on this program, and you were of the opinion that the government had the situation under control. Would you still agree that the situation is under control? It doesn't seem to be so. I mean, for Nigerians who are watching the situation in the southeast region, including Ebonyi State, where you have this recurring attacks, is the government any closer to unraveling what exactly is on its hands?
Yeah, my boss, the governor, has always been very proactive. Arising from the Security Summit in Imo State, where the governors of the Southeast met and looked at all the issues and made some resolutions. The governor had to take the bull by the horn, came down to Ebonyi State, of course, did constitute a Bubago and became the first to constitute a Bubago because he's actually in a hurry to ensure that the situation is nipped in the bud. But besides this, he thinks that militarization is not all there is, or the use of guns is not all there is. What did he do? Apart from constituting a Bubago, he had to also call a meeting of the stakeholders, clan by clan, what we call clan. And we have about not less than 9 clans. They were called in turns to have a meeting to brainstorm on how best to really tackle the issue. And it was agreed that we are not talking about foreign bandits now, people coming from outside, that we need to really police our various communities and get to talk to them. And it was also agreed that we can nose down to see those involved and see how we can engage them. The first port of call will be to liaise with the traditional rulers, the religious leaders, town union leaders, and associations, organizations of interest, and now see how they can give us useful information about their camping places and all of that. That has been done. That is why we are getting results now. Agreeably, the situation in the country is what everybody, not just government, will really have to be part to ensure that we reduce the situation. But given what the governor has done, including fortifying the security agencies, giving more security vehicles, that has really helped, and I'm sure everything is under control. Like I did say, everybody is going his or her normal business in Ebonyi State, except that we have our restrictions. Once it is 8 p.m., you don't move out of the state and you don't come in from other parts of the state. And that has really helped us, to see what to do to target those that are within.
Okay, let me just quote from the governor of Ebonyi State. He says that the insecurity situation in the southeast is a case of rightful agitations turned violent. And he basically feels that a fair Nigeria where justice and equity and freedom exist would dissuade these agitators. Are you of that same perspective?
Yeah,
because
that is...
people may argue similarly that Boko Haram too have a cause and they too need to be heard out and everybody needs to be brought to the negotiation
going by the
table.
history of the agitation of IPOP and ECL and all of that, I'll be very clear about their position. That Southeast is being marginalized, that we have not had our fair share of the opportunities at the national level, including factoring Southeast, especially in sensitive positions at the national level. But given that, which is actually obvious, the governor thinks that the best way to go is to really negotiate, to really engage the various authorities to see how they can understand the plight. And when you compare IPOP with Boko Haram, you see that IPOP is actually very different. One, Boko Haram has got no mission at all. They have not said this is what they need. But these people that are into IPOP have said this is what they need. Even though they are going extreme about that, talking about secession or separatism. That is what governments and authorities in Ebonyi State have said that we cannot as a people support anything that will encourage secession or separatism, as it were. Government has come, severally to speak about that. So even though the agitations are germane, but this is not the way to go. We have to appreciate the history of civil war, and we need to know that war is nobody's friend. And anybody that does encourage, either overtly or covertly, directly or indirectly, should be told that war is nobody's friend. J.P. Clark will always say that even those that started it, they are not even really the casualties. Even those that are abroad, they are also casualties of war, because if you think you are abroad and you are finding all embers of hate and division in the country, maybe if you are abroad, your brother will be here within Nigeria, or your parents. And when you don't see them again, you're also a casualty.
So it touches home. And I was just going to say, if you have now alluded to the fact that your principal was referring to agitators of Biafra, is that, are those the agitators he's referring
agitations to? Of...
When your governor says rightful agitations have turned violent, who are the agitators he's referring to?
Agitations of IPOP, for us, they are talking about Southeast having the opportunity of producing the president. Southeast having the opportunity of even development.
Not Biafra, because it says agitators have become...
Yeah, has become violent.
Okay, we'll go on a break,
yes.
And you come back to make some clarifications after now. Join us again. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Newsday, and we still have with us in the studio Uchenna Orji, who is the Commissioner of Information, Ebonyi State, Southeast Nigeria. Thank you so much for staying with us, Mr. Orji. And just to reiterate that question earlier asked before the break, when the governor was quoted as saying rightful agitations in the Southeast have turned violent, what part of the polity is this violence coming from? Who are these agitators the governor is referring to?
Yeah, initially, the agitation was that of marginalization, raising issues of consciousness about the way Southeast is being treated. But today it has gone violence, attacks to public facilities, police stations, even government infrastructure. So it has gone violence, as it were, and like I did say, a lot of people who are more or less hoodlums have taken advantage to destroy public facilities, attack people, kill, just to collect guns to carry out their crimes. And that is what the governor is saying, that this is too bad. Everybody must sit up to say no to violence, to banditry. No matter the agitations we have to do it within the confines of the law. And for goodness sake, the governor has severally said that the position of Southeast and, of course, Ebonyi State is that we belong to Nigeria. We only want a fair treatment. We also want that would be given opportunity just like every other zone. That is just the singular, actually, it's actually the remote cause of all of these current agitations. But I think that if stakeholders can come together to say, yes, our brothers and sisters, we understand the plight, but we need to engage constructively. We don't need to engage destructively. That is going to help. But unfortunately, those who are not in the corridors of power, sometimes opposition forces will say the problem is the governors or the problem is the president. It's not at all. The problem is that we as stakeholders in the Nigerian project, we are not telling ourselves the truth. The problem of lack of job creation or social amenities in the various zones is brought about by years of bad leadership. It didn't come just under this 6-year rule of Mr. President. And so it's just like an accumulation of grievances, agitations. That is what we are suffering now. So it requires everybody's hands to be on the deck. Let us talk to our brothers and sisters to lay down their arms. Let us see how we can reason together and see how we can have a prosperous nation, an egalitarian nation, where our voice will be heard, where there will be love, where there will be peace, where there will be brotherliness. And that is the preaching of our dear governor, my boss.
Okay, and still following his train of thought to try and understand his rationale, he said a lot of people have been brainwashed about Biafra and they've been told that there will be no elections in the region in 2023. And that's his rationale for saying the INEC offices are not being burnt in other parts of the country, they're being burnt in the southeast. Now, if you follow that rationale, would this adequately explain why the INEC offices are being targeted? And if so, have they been significantly damaged so as to affect, in your opinion, the forthcoming election?
It's part of the damage issue or violent issue we are talking about. I'm sure last week or 2 weeks ago, we had 2 cases of attack to INEC offices of by local government and Ezanoff local government areas. And government quickly took some actions, including sanctioning some government officials for failing to give prompt and timeous information that would have led to repelling the attack. But the issue is that people are already so worried that bandits have hijacked the entire agitation process to unleash mayhem to the various states, and that is too bad, not healthy for our democracy. We belong to Nigerian nation, and we profess that wherever we are. And what we are saying is that we need to engage our people to appreciate the fact that people have hijacked this agitation process to unleash mayhem. So whether they are attacking INEC offices with any excuse, whether they are attacking police stations, whether they are killing police officers, these are issues that the governor is not happy about. He's saying that we must wake up, we must rise up. Those that are sitting on the fence to say the problem is the governor, the problem is the president, they must know that harm to one is a harm to all, because all are casualties of war.
All right, very quickly, let me just ask you, because you mentioned engagement. It's been almost 2 weeks since the southern governors, 17 of them, rose from that Asaba summit with a list of communique, including banning of open grazing, call for national dialogue by Mr. President, and address to the country. What is the engagement with the Southeast governors and the caucus of the representatives in the National Assembly? Because some people will say some of these issues should have been sorted by lawmakers. This is just flogging a dead horse because they are there, they are elected every 4 years or returned every 4 years to do the same job.
Yeah, incidentally, on the 11th day of April 2021, Southeast governors met in Owerri and issued a communique. On a month after, on the same date, 11th day of May, Southern governors also met in Asaba and made lasting resolutions that will also impact on the future of our country. But I can tell you that step by step, a lot of steps are being taken, even at the National Assembly level, steps are being taken. I'm aware that recently the governor did constitute a committee, a kind of delegation that will project the position of the state on the issue of constitutional review. Former President, Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu is handling that of the Southeast, I'm sure, and Ebonyi State is already having into research on the best position to take. And the committee that is headed by our dear speaker, which incidentally I'm a member, is doing a lot of work on the provisions of the Constitution, especially the Section 251 of the Constitution, to see how there could be devolution of some powers given to the federal government. And when all of these things are addressed, it's going to help a lot. I did tell you the other time that my boss, the governor, in obedience to the directive of Mr. President, that states should engage their youth after the answers to know what actually should be done so that everybody can live together. Our governor had to convene a 7-day security summit, answer summit. And a lot of lasting decisions were made, were reached, including how to engage them in creative industry, how to also bring about infrastructure that will make for good governance, make for industrialization. And today, as I speak with you, Ebonyi State is really a model state in terms of infrastructure. We've got the environment. All we are doing is to see how we can attract investors. If security can be reduced, investors will come, and all of these things will naturally die if all jurisdictions or governments can show responsibility. I'm sure that if you come to Ebonyi State, you appreciate the great difference between leaders and leaders. Our governor has demonstrated that selflessness is all there is, that passion to serve the people is all there is. I'm sure that tomorrow will be great in Nigeria if we have people like Governor Mai, working at the national level to make a difference.
Okay, sorry we didn't have time to explore that more, but at least you began to tell us a bit about what the developments in Ebonyi State look like. We look forward to having you again next time.